Hi guys, it's Jamie here, and I wanted to work with some of these very cheap pictures that I found in a charity or thrift store. What I've done is I've taken the first one and covered it with a couple of layers of white gesso. The smoothness of that application doesn't matter because we're going to be covering it up using some of the printed papers that have already been made. I thought I'd quickly show you how I'm storing my printed paper. So that's just a throwaway magazine holder, and I've just thrown all my papers in there. I've pulled this one out for my foreground, and I just want to find something that I can use for the sky. As with the previous art collage, just want to make a little scene, but I found this picture, which is of a doll, and I want that to be the focus. Now I may not put it exactly centre, but I do want that to be kind of our focus. I might put it just off centre. First of all, I want to build the base, and when I build the base I'm going to wrap round to these edges because this is a deep frame, but it's already got the hanging bit, which is nice. I am going to use this because I love how this worked out. It was just me finishing off with throwing bits of paint down in the end. Remembering I want to wrap around, that would be the start. I will do torn edges like I did before as well, but for the time being what I want to work on is getting this onto the board. Cover each piece of paper using a spreader with my glue. This is a tacky glue. I don't particularly like it, so I want to use it up. I'm going to place it so I can wrap it. I'm going to want to do some kind of hospital corner, which means I'm cutting into wet glue just so I can bring that piece round. Small overlap down to the bottom. We can either wrap that round or cut it off. Bring it up and over, cutting up into it, wrapping it round on itself. I'm going to continue until I get to the skyline. Because I'm thinking of some kind of forest, maybe, I want this, and it's got some silver or pearlescent shine to it, to be a backdrop for trees. So I want the sky to actually be vertical. That's now stuck down. It's still drying off a little bit. What I have here is a box that I've called Cream Scraps. So as you can see, we've got a lot of text, which is what I'm looking for. The first thing I want to do with these is to get some clear gesso and cover them. One side is plenty, so I'm going to take the bit with the most writing and just go over the writing. Create a bit of a base so that we can colour over the top of this and it won't all get absorbed directly into the paper. I want to make a bluey grey, and it's partly because I don't like the shine on this one, that metallic shine that it's got. I have a colour called bluish grey. I want it to still be transparent, and I want the words to go this way. Really all I'm doing is giving this a bit of a coat of colour. I'm not too worried about strength or anything like that. Then for the very foreground, I want to go a different way with the strokes. Raw sienna. Really want a green as well, so we'll just do a little bit in this. This is a forest green. I think this might be too green really. Mush it up to make a dull colour. That's a bit grey. Touch more green. Yeah, that's kind of okay. It's quite strong. If anything's too strong, you can always remove some using some tissue. Bit more green in this time. Grey, greeny colours. What we're going to do next will take some time, but these projects are meant to be things that you can play with over a few days. We are going to cut strips of words. I'm going to get some glue. I'll just use like a Pritt stick. Add it going downwards across the whole sky area. That's both parts. The bottom third, so not this middle bit, but just the bottom third. I'm going to take the green words and glue those words onto this area. We do less at the bottom, but with the sky, I want to basically cover it. Here's how the canvas looks now. What I've done is I've done some wording completely vertically and straight, and then with the green coloured wording, I've followed a bit of the contour of the foreground and left the middle part empty of wording, as I previously said I would. I have also fussy cut the little doll shape, which we're going to put slightly off center. So I know where this is going before we start the next stage. I'm going to trace round my figure. Now I want to create this forest. I'm going to get some paint and probably staying within my blue and greys, roughly shape some trees into this. I'll start with some grey. I'm not going to overly detail the trees. We're going for a very modern, abstract look. Possibly want a little bit of blue in that. Don't want it too dull. Simply some trees. So we're going to do a big bit. We're going to keep them kind of open. Even do a bit of one coming like that. I've mixed in some olive green, some grey, a bit of blue to get what I consider quite a nice grey, greeny blue colour. And now we're going to go back over some of this, not all of it. The idea behind doing this is to create this feeling of foreground and then a ghosty background. I want to darken it up again and get an even slimmer brush. You're beginning to see a bit of, we're going to shade this in a bit more at some point. Very kind of casual lay of the land that is see-through. A bit more blue now. Vaguely build on these colourways. Not really thinking about sun at this point, in case anyone's thinking, well, where's the sun coming from? So abstract, we're not thinking about that. I'm feeling like I've done this a bit stronger than I really wanted to, so I'm going to go back over with some water and just lift. It will create some interesting texture if nothing else. Grabbing the water, bringing it down, lifting colour up. Almost deliberately make these sort of ghost trees. I think I'm happier with those. I'm not sure, but that's where we're going to go with it. Definitely getting more of that see-through type effect. Don't want to take too much off the blue, I don't think. Picking up a bit of the colour and in random places throwing it back in, but lifting as well at the same time. Okay, I'm beginning to feel that's getting somewhat, still not very tree-like. I'm not going to put too many extras in, just a bit. A very watery tree. I'm going to take a bit off this base. I'm going to call that done. From a different piece of dyed paper, I've quickly cut a very basic house shape and looking where these trees line up. I'm going to take a pencil, draw roughly where that's going to go. This is kind of reminding me like Hansel and Gretel type feel. Darkish forest, the horizon, little house, a doll, could be a child. Taking a lid for convenience and going to get some white on that. Mixed media-ish type stuff going on here. Get that very, very loose. Get a few splashes going. I've just had to dry this off a little bit, not too much, so it didn't move any of the paint. It was just some of the thicker splodges were still wet. I have here my Derwent Ink Intense Embark 2000. I only really have two watercolour pencils that are really strong. One is the Stabilo 8046 and the other one is the Bark. So the Bark being the browner. Ink Intensive is very intense. So where we have this horizon line, kind of, you know, ignoring where the other stuff is, in between the trees, give it a bit of a horizon, get my fine paintbrush and touch that with some water, and you will see that that becomes quite a strong edge. And we can do something similar for other sort of areas. Put some shading in base of the trees, for example, and give ourselves just a touch of definition. Still abstract, and following some of these extra bits of paper, a bit of the tree line, bring that down. I think you're beginning to see that there's getting some stronger definition at the back, lighter kind of here, though we don't mind having a bit of shading around this bit because we do want the figure to attract the eye. I've done another quick little dry off here. Didn't need much. I'm going to add some more abstract pieces. So going on this idea of Hansel and Gretel and the cottage, I thought we could do like lollipop flowers. I'm not quite sure what you'd call them in America. So I'm going to take my black and just do some straight lines. And the reason I need a ruler is because basically this is quite lumpy now with all the words. This is partly to brighten it up. Gone back to the papers that have already been pre-painted and punched out at small circles and a big love heart. I'm not sure whether I'm going to use this yet or not. Love of the forest or a word up there, but I don't know yet. But it looks quite cool. Get some matte medium because this will stick anything to anything. On top of those, grab a circle, pop it on. I'm going to put down very bright looking flowers. I think I will put the love heart down. We could actually put the house on. Could make that even more whimsical doll. We could add some wings. These wings would probably pick up on some of the colours here if we put those behind that doll. Everything is now completely dry and has been covered with matte medium, so is basically waterproof. I'm going to add what I think might be finishing touches. Sometimes with these things it's just knowing when to finish. I'm going to go round this figure. We want this one to be quite strong. Taking a thin brush that's watery to strengthen up this outline. I'm going to take a bit more water and then pull that out a bit. Going to take a marker pen and hopefully just sort of squiggle round these. Cute. Don't quite know with this love heart, that will need outlining as well, I think, and as is the house is already outlined. I did want to tile the roof. not overly keen on that, so we might do something with that. With a door, windows, we're not going to go for any kind of accuracy here. I want to do something with this heart. I don't quite know what yet. I have a metallic marker pen, so let's just see what I can do using that and whether I like it or not. And then maybe we offset that somehow. I've got some fine liners and felt tips and things here, so I'm going to see if these will go on here. I've got gold up here, so I'm going to do little golden tiles, I think. Window wise, just go in there with a bit of brown, tapping that out with my finger as gently as I can. Quite like that, I must admit. I want a stronger roof line, like a little fantasy house roof line. Yeah, that's cool. Little angel. Let's see what we can do with you. Is that going to look okay, or is that going to look a bit rubbish? Let's have a look. Just get a bit of gold around you as well. Although I have done a very neat line round this, with everything else being a bit smudgy, I think I might kind of make the heart a bit more smudgy as well. Have a sponge and some white gesso, and I want to, it's almost like creating a halo, isn't it? Do I like that? I think if I just do a bit of white round the doll, I like that so far. A bit of a horizon. Now where are we? I'm going to come in with a tiniest amount of white on these flowers, just like little spots. I suppose a bit of white through the house wouldn't hurt. A little tiny bit. Maybe the tiniest amount of shadow just under that roof and under the window. Give that a bit of definition. Now we are beginning to imagine where the light's coming in. Just spotted this one has not got a circle around it. And then what I would like to do, if I can find it, grab a dark VersaFine ink, lightly frame the whole thing. I think I'm happy with the brown. I don't think I need to do that black. All I want to do is, when that's really dry, is throw a protecting glaze over that by spraying it on. I've put a layer of Spray and Shine by Crafter's Companion over this, which gives it a slight gloss finish. You can also get a matte version, but not by this company. That just protects the whole surface. I think that's basically done. Maybe the white's a little strong on the outside, but I'm going to leave it as it is for now. I'll probably end up playing a little bit more with it. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I will catch you very soon. Bye!